What's up, yo? My name is Matthews, presenting to you the official lyric breakdown for my new song, Asylah, out now on all streaming platforms. Yeah, so what the song is about, it's just about loving someone so much that's hurting themselves and just not really being able to do much to help them in that situation. It's like the feeling of helplessness, watching someone go down a very dark path that you know is bad for them and you don't want to see them go down, but also knowing that you can't do anything to save them. Starts off by saying, I watch your light just flicker out as I follow you, in the darkness that went swallowed you, into your wave with nothing there to save you, or falling fast I could have caught you. So that part is basically just saying, following someone into darkness, watching their light flicker out. I think that's pretty something to save. You were falling fast, I could have caught you. Is just saying, now I'm in your situation, now I'm into your problems and in your life. Like, I could have caught you if you put out your hand, but you're already so far gone, like there's nothing left for me to save. They didn't choose my help, which is fine, right? That's something that I had to grow and that's something that I had to be okay with moving forward. But 8 years had passed since I heard you laugh, and 3 years since I felt your heartbeat too. So, and we both agreed that it's messed up. It's the last time that I saw you. So what that is basically saying is it was 8 years since I had seen her before the time that we had spent that evening together, and it was 3 years since that evening when I had wrote that song. And I think at this point it's been like 6 years. So, feelings that I don't still have today, but an important song for me nonetheless, like one that I feel like I had to get out and write. And then it goes into kind of like a hook that's just saying, I wait for you, because that is the thought and the feeling that I was experiencing at the time, was just letting, so, and not even necessarily in a romantic capacity, but letting that person know that waiting for them to find themselves, to, find the strength to bounce back from their situation or whatever it was. So that's when I get into more specifics in the first verse, where I say, you came over that night, we talked about life and I offered advice. We talked about death and drugs and God, and told me about all your vices. You told me you hate where your life is, so you just start to feel lifeless. You were my ISIS. You were just stuck in a crisis, and I was just lost in your iris. So that is all to say, just explain the situation of what we're talking about is addiction, of dying, and faith, and where that all comes into play. And, the depression aspect that they were explaining to me. You were stuck in a crisis and I was just lost in your iris, is just breaking down what I had said earlier of falling for someone while they're in crisis, they're going through something traumatic, but you're, for whatever reason, falling. And I was just lost in your iris. Asking me, am I scared? I said, petrified. Baby, you got me terrified. There's no saving you, but I know I tried. I spent that night in your crystallized. You cried in my arms and I crystallized. Two souls beside when they coincide. Both hearts in time when they synchronized. It's true. I was hypnotized by you. So that was like in reference to an actual quote, like an actual something that she said to me was, are you scared right now? And I'm like, I'm terrified. Like, I'm very afraid for you. Like, I'm afraid for this path that you're going down. Like, I hope you're going to be okay. Like, I hope you don't go back to the situations that you're in or substances that you're doing. And so it was that, that night was just basically spending time together and me holding her in my arms and falling in love and not wanting to take advantage of anyone's, mental state. And that's basically what that verse is about. So after that, it goes into the pre-chorus, I believe, which is, I met your spirit in the sky in frozen time, so let's just stay. In my darkness found your light. You clipped my wings in outer space. And that is all to say, wanting the moment never to stop. In my darkness found your light. It's like finding the light that they lost like, this is how I kind of felt in that moment, was like, sometimes when you're depressed or when you feel like you have problems going on, and then someone comes along and like they actually tell you about like some real problems, like you can respond to that, kind of become a source of positivity in light of whatever you have going on. So that's what that lyric is about. In my darkness found your light. Like, her light was something that I grabbed onto in that moment, trying to like give it back to her in that sense, if that makes sense at all, but I couldn't. You clipped my wings in outer space. I hadn't talked to her for like 3 years after that night, and I couldn't. She stopped responding to me, stopped replying to me, and there's probably reasons for that. I think she went back to her abusive boyfriend, something like that, which, you know, I understand. They're hard to leave. Those situations are hard to leave, so I don't blame her for that. And it wasn't about me, right? And that's also what I'm trying to get at. And then in the background, it's the "I wait for you" lyrics. And then after that, the chorus, which is the big moment. "'Cause I had your body on mine, now I can't feel anything. And our energy starts to collide, vibration to entropy. Tell me so many beautiful lies, whisper again to me. It's a beautiful, lovely decline, falling further in love with your mind." A lot of people will think that's about sex, but it's not. I'm actually celibate. It's just the idea of being so close to somebody, being so mentally close to somebody, them not being there anymore, and then that feeling just being gone. So having your body on mine, and then being numb to feeling afterwards, and being anxious for someone or worried for them, and kind of having to shut off because you're responding so heavily to what they might be going through. And to be honest, I was afraid that she was going to die, to be completely honest. That's the point. A beautiful decline, falling further in love with your mind. So that's kind of how I described my night, was a decline to falling in love with someone and how they think, and not just their body or, you know, their physical attractiveness, but their personage and their personality and their brain. So after that, I go into the second verse, and it's that night I fell into a dream. So the decline, falling into a dream, had to watch you walk away. Such an instant sucker for you, baby, how could I convey? When you feel some type of pain, I feel your pain in every way. When you don't feel safe, I take the blame. A shame we went astray. That's just basically calling back to everything I just said, is feeling someone's pain, falling into a dream, watching them walk away, being a sucker for them. When you feel some type of pain, I feel your pain in every way. Being in someone's wave, like I said, just carrying someone's weight and carrying their pain. When you don't feel safe, I take the blame, right? So if she's not safe, it's like I'm blaming myself. And then I go into, I know you're scared and I feel unprepared to ask or let you stay. In your fragile state of mind, I'm kind of worried about the pace. Probably wonder if I'm really there for you, and that's okay. That was the last time I ever saw you, watch you walk away, and that's fucked up. And it was fucked up, because she asked me that night if she could stay over my house. And I was celibate. I am celibate at the time. And I am celibate. I was celibate. So in my opinion and in my mind, I just didn't feel right. And I told her, I was like, yeah, like, you can stay here tonight, but like, you know, you can sleep in my room and I'm gonna sleep down here, like in the living room, just because like I don't feel right. I don't feel right, you know, doing that in your mental state right now. Or even just the appearance of that. So like, whether that ended up in sex or not, it was just like a line that I drew for myself, because I was like, it's not right. Like, I'm not going to take advantage of this girl in her mental state. Yeah, I watched her walk away to her car. You know, I think she reached out to me when the person in her family actually died. And then after that, didn't really hear from her for like years afterwards. We FaceTimed once when I was living out in California. And then I didn't hear from her again because her another boyfriend found her phone and, yeah, blocked me. So that's how that went. But it's okay, because, you know, and I hope she's okay. We coalesce, you fill my dreams. Life's a mess, so you fucking scream. You make me deaf, so I'm begging, please, could you twist the knife? I'll die, just let me bleed, 'cause I had your body on mine. So it's again that coalesce, you fill my dreams. I had a lot of anxiety dreams about her afterwards, but that feeling of coalescing, that coming up with someone into like this like ethereal space of vibration and connection, her life being a mess, it not making sense, and then like the deafening silence of like the lack of her voice, right? It's like, you make me deaf, I'm begging, please, could you twist the knife? I'll die, just let me bleed. Like I went into a deep depression after that, because I felt like I wasn't enough for her. I felt like I couldn't provide what she needed me to provide. I felt like I couldn't help her. I felt like I couldn't save her. I felt like I couldn't be the hero. Something that a lot of us guys struggle with. But again, like, not necessarily my job, right? And that was something that I had to learn. That was something that I had to really come through, you know, within myself and really discover was, hey, it's not your job to save everybody. Like, some people have to save themselves. Like, you got to work on yourself, bro. Like, you really got to focus on you. And that would be my advice for anyone that's in that situation of, like, have you ever loved somebody so much that's hurting themselves, but you know that you can't do anything to stop them or save them? You got to work on yourself. Like, you got to be the person that they can come to. You got to be the person that they can look to if and when they're ready, right? Because, like I said earlier, like, I think every single person has to take those steps to fixing themselves or saving themselves first, turning to a God or a religion or therapy or counseling. But I think it does start with you, almost always. So, Matthews. That's the lyric breakdown for my single Asylah. Sorry it was a sad one. Hopefully this helps some people. Hopefully this helps you realize, like, yo, you're not alone out there. If you're trying to, like, take on someone else's pain, take on someone else's burdens, like, you gotta let that stuff go. Always be there for them. Always be there if they, you know, want to come back to themselves or come back to you as a, not even as a romantic thing, but just as a friend thing, a family member, whoever it is. You know, I encourage you to always be there for your people. In terms of, like, feeling like you gotta save them, you know. Work on yourself, yeah. Become the best version of yourself. Matthews. Met your spirit in the sky. It frozen time, so let's just stay. In my darkness, found your light.